In part 10 of the 2026 Miami Hurricanes opponent preview series, I will preview the Duke Blue Devils, our opponent at Hard Rock Stadium on November 14th in Manny Bowl 2 and Mensah Bowl 1. Entering the 2026 season, Duke is the defending ACC champions with head coach Manny Diaz aiming for their fifth bowl appearance in a row. Duke has claimed the ACC championship in football. Okay. It may seem surprising, and it likely required a lot of unexpected events to achieve, but we shouldn't be shocked anymore. Duke football is winning. Also, Duke truly earned a spot in the college football playoff as a Power Four champion, but that's behind us now. They didn't get that spot, by the way. Little spoiler alert there. Has Miami ever secured an ACC championship? No, despite having 35 overall wins in the last 4 years. Since 2022, Florida State has achieved 30 wins. Duke has 35, including 3 seasons with 9 wins and an 8-win season in 2023. In the past 3 years, both Clemson and Duke have won 26 games. Louisville has a better record with 28 wins, but does it have an ACC championship? No. With a lot of roster changes, the offense will rely on quarterback Walter Egan, who comes from San Jose, while the defense hopes to have a strong and agile pass rush. Some key statistics from Duke last year. Opponents had 5,939 yards total offense to 5,929 for Duke. Fourth down conversions, Duke was 32 out of 43, 74%. Opponents were just 50%, 15 out of 30. Tackles for loss, Duke 93 for 304 yards, opponents 75 for 327 yards. Let's talk about the Duke offense. Yes, the offense was impressive, leading the ACC with 285 passing yards per game. It overcame various issues by consistently scoring and averaging an ACC high 34.6 points per game. Now it's up to veteran offensive coordinator Jonathan Brewer to maintain the success with many new players. Okay, what's working, you ask? The running game is expected to be strong. The Blue Devils thrived on their passing game, but they had a 6-1 record when rushing for over 140 yards. Nate Shepard received second All ACC recognition with 1,132 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns, averaging 5.7 yards per carry. He also caught 37 passes, and he will be utilized even more this season. The offensive line should be decent. All-star guard Justin Pickett has graduated, and tackle Brian Parker II is also gone. But Matt Craycraft returns at center, and Jordan Larson is a solid veteran guard. The tackle position should be strengthened with 2 excellent additions. You get Braden Miller that comes over from Cal, and Nick Del Grande from Coastal Carolina. There is an issue with the receiving group. More on this in a moment. But Duke may have found a solution. Tight end Jeremiah Halsey, stands out as one of the top ace players in the ACC, while Jarrett Richardson comes over from Penn and Javen Nicholas from Charlotte were promising additions. They combined for 150 receptions on their previous teams. Here's what needs improvement. We know we have Mensah now here in Coral Gables. He was anticipated to join the Blue Devils, but we pursued him. It was contentious, and now he's a Hurricane. He didn't play at all, yet he topped the ACC with nearly 4,000 yards and 34 touchdown passes to just 6 interceptions. Walter Egan is a tall quarterback from San Jose State with significant experience, but he has thrown 19 interceptions over the last 2 years. Last year's standout recruit Dan Mahan has great potential but lacks game experience. The receiving group has been weakened. We also got Mensah's favorite target, Cooper Barkate, who had 72 catches for 1,106 yards and 7 touchdowns. The second receiver, Quayshawn Brown, is now in Blacksburg at Virginia Tech, and the third leading receiver, Samir Higgins, has graduated. While it's impossible to avoid all turnovers, Duke was 6-0 when they didn't turn the ball over, and when they did, they were 3-5. So the first step: minimize turnovers. The Blue Devils only turned the ball over multiple times in just 2 games last year. The fumble-heavy matchup against Illinois, and that loss to UConn. The player to keep an eye on is Walter Eget, or Dan Mahan, or ex-Stanford backup quarterback Ari Patu. Eget's not Mensah, but as a fifth-year senior, he excelled at San Jose State. He passed for more than 5,500 yards and 30 touchdowns in the past 2 years. Plus, unlike Mensah, he has some mobility. Now let's look at Duke on the defensive side of the ball. If it's coached by Manny Diaz, it means you're expected to have a solid defense. And when you have coordinator Jonathan Packey needing to improve this year's group after struggling against the pass, despite some pressure in the backfield, there's some work to do there. But you're still expected to have a solid defense. Now, while there isn't a lot of starting talent returning, there's some optimism from the returning rotation, and the transfer portals additions look promising. What's working for Duke defensively? The pass rush. While not as effective in 24, there was still pressure, and tackles for loss were frequent. They achieved 11 or more tackles for loss in 6 games, winning all of them. The coaching staff will generate production from various positions, and that scheme is effective. The two players in the 4-2-5 are solid. The linebackers are among the team's best all-around playmakers, and now they have more experience. Luke Murgott inside and Kendall Johnson outside combined for 127 tackles and 10 tackles for loss. Most of those were from Murgott, but Johnson will boost the stats in a rotation with veteran Nick Morris, if Morris can stay healthy after injuries the past 2 years. Takeaways. Duke's turnovers are often more significant than the takeaways, but the defense compensates for many issues by forcing mistakes, like being overwhelmed in the Sun Bowl against Arizona State, yet winning despite 3 crucial takeaways. They forced 24 turnovers, and when creating multiple takeaways, they were 6-1. Now here's what needs work on the Duke defense. Stopping opponents on third downs. With so much talent and experience along with good coaching, Duke should not have struggled as much as it did to get off the field. That was a strength in 24, but last year, there were moments when third down stops were elusive, allowing a 45% conversion rate or worse in 8 games. And this is linked to the pass defense, which needs to improve. And it must do so without corner Chandler Rivers and top safety Caleb Weaver. Indeed, teams had to attempt passing to maintain the tempo, but Duke ranked as having the third worst pass defense in the country, giving a 276 yards, 0.8 yards each game. The defensive line must improve significantly without last year's leading players. Given its experience and potential, the front didn't perform well enough. Now, with 4 new starters needed, the coaching staff must find ways to keep applying pressure while also strengthening their run defense. Now, here's a player to watch on defense for Duke, and that's Luke Murgott, the linebacker. 6'3", 225 pounds. He was among the team leaders with 90 tackles, 1 sack, 7 tackles for loss, and 2 interceptions, including a crucial one in the ACC title game win against Virginia. He is expected to be an all-ACC defender this year. The keys to the season. Achieve solid quarterback performance without many errors. Replace the defensive front 4 and enhance playmaking ability when the ball is in the air. Hope the receiving group can quickly become a standout. The player who needs to shine is sophomore defensive tackle Owen Wong. The expectation is the former Penn State Nittany Lion will develop into his role on the inside. He has the right build for the position, is quick, and has the potential to become a top interior pass rusher. As part of a completely new group of starters on the D-line, he will face tough challenges right away. The main concern for Duke is maintaining the same level of offensive output. Yes, Mensah was outstanding. He was a top recruit. He won the ACC title. The quarterbacks they have available now with Mensah gone are still capable, and the performance should be adequate, but there is a decline. It will require something exceptional to approach leading the ACC in scoring again. Well, the key matchup for Duke will be at Virginia October 24th in an ACC title game rematch. You could simulate that 25 seasons countless times and still not see Duke face Virginia in the ACC championship game. Yet, it occurred. And this rematch, October 24th, starts a stretch of 3 away games in 4 weeks, with NC State and us on the schedule. And this one may be the easiest of the lot, if you could say that. There's some other players to recognize here. Javen Nicholas from Charlotte, Che Enrique from Stanford, a safety, and Nick Del Grande, an offensive tackle from Carolina. Now, from a CANES perspective, it's Manny Bowl 2/Mensah Bowl 1. And this game will come either after an emotional win or a tough loss at Notre Dame. This is a game the Canes cannot lose, and I feel this is one game the Canes need to win, and I believe will win. Now let's get to my prediction for Duke. They managed to win most of its close games last year. They narrowly defeated Clemson by 1 and North Carolina by a touchdown, and had exciting wins against Virginia and Arizona State, the latter in El Paso. While it might seem unimportant to win the ACC championship, Duke was actually closer to finishing 5-7 and missing a bowl game than to 7-5 competing for the ACC title. So even though it might seem pessimistic to think Duke could struggle to reach 500, keep in mind that it's just one game off from last year's record, and that this year's team has many new players to integrate. They should start the season 3-1. You got Tulane, you got Stanford, you got William and Mary, and a predicted loss at Illinois. But if they beat Illinois on the road, watch out. This could be a very dangerous team, a very special team. But they have too many tough away games after the Illinois game. G-Tech, Virginia, NC State, Wake, and of course when they come to Hard Rock on November 14th. You add in home games against Clemson, North Carolina, and a stronger Boston College, Duke will likely win some unexpected games. Lose a few that it should have won, and for the first time in its history, it will qualify for a bowl game for 5 straight seasons. So my prediction for Duke in 2026 is 8-4. In part 11 of the opponent preview series, I will preview the Virginia Tech Hokies.